Hello, everyone. It is that time of the week for the Cannabis Events Talk Show powered by eventhi, and I am your host, Adelia Carrillo. eventhi is an online ticketing platform catering to the cannabis culture, and our Cannabis Events Talk Show is all about cannabis events, experiences, and tourism. We keep you updated on the hottest topics from current news, trends, interviews with event guests to marketing tips and so much more. Now, just to give you a lineup of how the show goes, we will bring on our special guest in a moment and dive into an interview format. We're going to go over a variety of different topics today, and then we will go into our news article of the month or of the week, and we'll touch in and share a little bit of input and insights on this week's article. After that, that'll be the end of the segment with our special guest, and then I will just give you a couple updates. We always highlight our event of the week and our upcoming guest. So enough of that. Now let's get to introducing this week's guest. I would like to introduce you all to this week's guest. His name is Bob Calkin. Bob is a cannabis motivational speaker bringing 30 years of experience in the cannabis industry to the table. He's currently the vice president of MJRX, a cannabis conglomerate located in Adelanto, California. He owns and manages 12 cannabis licenses and runs Jet Room Dispensary, which is also in Adelanto, California. In his position with MJRX, Bob oversees hiring hundreds of employees from a multitude of capacities, ranging from cultivation, extraction, distribution, and dispensary licenses. Now, his storied legacy in the cannabis industry actually began in 1976 when he and fellow activists staged a smoke-in at the mall in Washington, D.C., where so many other cultural revolutions have broken ground. It was that act of protest that sparked Calkin's lifelong mission to bring cannabis away from black market trade into a mainstream industry. Now, he was also one of the original members of the American Hemp Council in 1988 with Chris Conrad and Jack Herrera. His activism and entrepreneurial spirit led him to begin creating jobs in the medicinal marijuana industry. Now, also in 1988, he opened America's first branded delivery service called Green Dot. Now, since then, he has gone on to become the face of medical marijuana jobs. He founded the Cannabis Career Institute in 2009 and the Cannabis State University in 2010. He has also written a curriculum for Oakland's Oaksterdam University, and which was actually the basis for his 2008 Cannabis Entrepreneurship Bible, Starting Your Own Medical Marijuana Delivery Service. Now, he has stayed busy. He has also created Cannajobs.com, which is a comprehensive online source for news and information relating to the medical marijuana industry. And he created CannaWorks as well, which is a consulting firm, which is also how he obtained to the 12 vertical integrated cannabis licenses. So with that being said, let's bring Bob on. Welcome, Bob. Thank you for joining us today.
Hey, everybody. Coming to you live from the smoking lounge at Jet Room.
We're excited to have you here. You shared a little bit about you before we went live, and I just thought it was interesting. So I know I covered a little bit about your past, but if there is, please share with us a little bit more about who you are and why you decided to go this route into launching Cannabis Career Institute.
I've been in the industry my whole life, been creating different business models as the laws change, and always been kind of a geek about the law and trends and where the industry is going. So having multitudes of ideas and business models just coming out of me for the past 40 years, it's just a natural outgrowth of my love for this industry. Cannabis has put both my kids through private school and college. It's helped me support me through my whole life and introduced me to so many people that are just so important to me and the industry. And I've traveled the world as a result of cannabis. So for me, it's a life-changing plant and a very serious topic and a lifelong vocation. So it's something I've always enjoyed doing. I love helping people. So the combination of cannabis and helping people, whether it's been either delivery, helping the homebound and the terminally ill, or helping regular people to figure out what they want to do in the cannabis industry, down to helping attorneys and engineers figure out how they want to get into the industry or perform in the industry. So it's just something just comes naturally to me. A lot of fun.
Yeah. And you know, one thing that kind of correlates with your whole history of it, everything, and this is what I love, everything always goes back to education. There's some sort of education that you're providing, you know, whether it's through the Cannabis Career Institute, through the Canna Jobs, through the Canna Works, you know, they're all, and your book as well. You know, that is just something that obviously seems passionate, right? Is education obviously important to you for this plant?
My whole focus the entire time I've been in the industry is bringing legitimacy to the cannabis space. So whether that's by following the law or by having people that teach in the class that are extremely educated and have great professional backgrounds, I think the credibility that we can bring to the industry has always been my motivation. So writing books, writing curriculum, doing interviews for about 7 years there, from about 2009 to 2015. Nobody wanted to get on TV and do interviews and talk about the cannabis industry. They're all too afraid, and I was the only one that, you know, NBC and all these other stations would call regularly to ask questions about how the industry was going. So I almost became an industry spokesperson in the beginning for a while. When I first put out my business cards saying, you know, marijuana consultant on there, a lot of people would tell me, oh, you know, the FBI is going to come and kick down your door. And I always said, well, if I'm teaching people to follow the law, I really don't think that that's going to happen. So
Exactly. So true. You know, with the Cannabis Career Institute, for those that are unfamiliar, one big component are the workshops that you host. These workshops are throughout the U.S. You have two that are actually upcoming in Buffalo, New York, on October 22nd and the 23rd. Now, overall, what can people expect from your educational seminars? I know you said you've enhanced them over the past few years. So.
it's been an interesting challenge to transition from the old school into the new school.
Yeah.
So our original curriculum was, how do you just start your own business? If you have any amount of money, we can show you how to create your own business. And that was no problem. I helped thousands of mom and pop regular entrepreneurs to start their own business, and they were quite successful. But then with the advent of legalization, we saw the fact that you now couldn't really do it all on your own. You need to create a whole team. You actually had to have a team in order to execute on any license that you were applying for. You even most times had to list your team and how you were going to do all of those things before you even got the license. So creating a team, creating an understanding of what the challenges are for everybody that comes to the class is the primary focus. So first of all, are you being realistic about the goals that you yourself have? Do you have enough information to make those kind of educated decisions? Some people come to the classes, they've got it all figured out. They just need to dial it in and make some connections. Other people are coming to the classes, they have no clue what they want to do, and they need a guidepost. They need somebody to show them all the options, what would be most suited for me based on my budget, based on my timeline, based on my experience. So we really try to hone in individually on each person's needs. And since there's such a wide spectrum of experience that's coming to the class from beginners to advanced, we have to make sure that that curriculum is appropriate for everybody that's coming. So that is one of the focuses of the class, is figuring out what the information everybody there is for and making sure they get it. So I have to kind of assess all of those things with each class and individualize the curriculum to the people who are coming to the class.
Okay. So then if I were to go and let's say I'm, like you said, maybe starting from the very beginning, I could still attend, and there's going to be others that may be a little bit more advanced, but we're going to be in it together, and you cater it to each specific one, like more hands-on.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Wow.
And the idea is that once you've paid for one class, you can come forever. So
Wow.
it doesn't end. You don't have to worry, oh, do I get all the information in one class? If you're just beginning, come back 10 times. I've had people come back 10, 20 times to class until they finally figure out what it is they want to do, or they gain the confidence to go out and do what it is that they thought they might, or maybe they're just coming to the class to see what other people are doing and they want to copy them, or figure out if that's a good business model for them. So really it's all about a hands-on, we're going to be there for you even outside of class type of approach. So that's what makes Cannabis Career Institute different. We're not trying to get you in and get you out and never talk to you again, or only give you certain information that's been approved by committee, so that we think, oh, we're going to spoon feed you just what it is that we feel safe giving you. No, we're going to give you the whole picture. We think you're adult enough to figure out how you want to do your business. So we're not going to hide any information. You know, I've been part of groups of people that teach that want to, compartmentalize what it is that they share, and maybe not give somebody all the information, right? So we're not there to hide anything. We're actually there to make sure that you're aware of all those things that other people don't want to tell you or help you with.
Well, we have Kim in the audience who just said this is so needed. So yes, it's definitely needed. It's helped save helped bring people to the right business for them, it sounds like.
Yes.
And then it's this has been around since 2009, correct?
Yes.
Wow.
That was, I mean, I started out at Oaksterdam. I created the curriculum for delivery because I went to Oaksterdam wanting to figure out how to create a legal delivery service. And that's because I had an illegal delivery service, and I've been operating that for 30 years. And I thought, now's the time to figure out how to get it legal. So I went to Oaksterdam. They didn't have a curriculum for delivery. As a matter of fact, at that time, which was 2007, there was really no, most cities didn't even have a delivery license, nor did they even want to talk about delivery. Delivery was always the last thing anybody wanted to discuss back then. So I went to Oaksterdam. They said, hey, Dale said to me, why don't you, I challenge you, write the curriculum. Wow. So I wrote the curriculum. I created the book, Starting Your Own Medical Marijuana, the Mobile Caregiver's Handbook. And that became kind of the guide for everybody in the industry starting their own delivery service, because up till then there was zero information on how to start your own delivery service.
Wow. Well, that's good to know. Now, along with the Cannabis Career Institute, you also provide corporate training. What is that entail, and how can businesses learn more about this service?
Well, you mentioned you were in Arizona, and I actually had a call a while ago from a dispensary manager in Arizona that wanted us to come in and train all their bud tenders. Okay. Right. So we did a hands-on workshop where we went to the dispensary and did the workshop in their dispensary, so they didn't have to go to a class. Yeah. So that's essentially what a corporate training might be. And also, we just got a call from a group in Thailand that is an agricultural group that wants to come over to MJ BizCon that's happening, and they want to get trained while they're here. So we're going to be training a whole group of people from Thailand, and then bringing them out to Adelanto, giving them a tour and showing them some facilities. And that's the other thing that we can do now at CCI, is actually bring you to a facility and show you hands-on what one looks like, right? So we have a dispensary, we have cultivation, we have distribution, extraction, all those facilities that somebody can now actually touch, and walk through.
Yeah. That will be interesting. That'll be really cool. I'm sure that those in Thailand are going to be very impressed with just how things are, It's a whirlwind for them. Now, there's a couple other components I wanted to chat about with the Cannabis Career Institute. I was looking at the website, and you and I briefly spoke about it, but you also have a component for social equity. What does that look like? And if you could share more about that.
Well, that's one of our primary focuses now. And since CCI has had a history of helping minority and small mom and pop businesses get started, we have tons of experience in that anyway. We're immensely qualified to provide state-sponsored programs now, because there's a big cry for social equity training. So the state of Maryland gave Cannabis Career Institute a grant to perform these training services for folks that were applying for the cultivation and extraction or manufacturing licenses in Maryland that were social equity. So we have a whole curriculum, and we also have a pricing policy for social equity folks. So we have codes that they can enter in when they sign up, and they can get a discount. It's like half off.
Wow. Yeah,
And I'll give you those codes. You can post them for the social equity folks.
We would love that. Yeah. So a couple more comments came in. You know, Kim was very excited about Amsterdam. Another individual said they just went to Thailand in March, and the people there do love to learn. They're ready to learn. So I can see why they contacted you then for that.
Well, one of the things we want to do is now that the market's opening up nationwide and worldwide, we want to go to all those markets first. And that's kind of like when the wave hits, you know, when Florida was first changing into a cannabis state, we did packed classes there for years, right? Because that was the time when everybody needed the information. So the same is going to go for Thailand, I think, and it would be great to go over to Thailand and do a CCI there.
That would be awesome. Well, there's a couple other programs too that drew my attention, and mentorship is a big one for me, just because I see there's so much value for entrepreneurs and business owners to have a mentor, or any professional. You know, having a mentor is vital. So what is the mentorship program, something that you help? Like, if I were to go on there, you'd help me find a mentor in your network, or how does that work?
Depending on your area of interest, whether it's edibles or cultivation, or just start doing a business plan, finding an investor, everybody's got a different expertise or thing that they can't do. So we're here to provide you with the things you can't do yourself. So first we figure out what it is you can do and everything that you can't do. Then we need you to get a mentor. So if somebody's trying to build a grow operation, that's easy. We have a cultivation mentor. If somebody's trying to do a business plan, I can be a mentor, or any of the other people on our staff. You have your pick of who you want to work with. And the mentorship is important because as we give you checklists of things to do, because that's basically how I like to do it, is assess what you need to do, give you a checklist of things to do. You come back to me when you've completed that checklist, or as you're going through the checklist. If you're trying to figure out how to do it, you need to call me. So that's what a mentor is there for. So when you come to these crossroads, you have somebody that you can immediately call. And usually it's all just me giving you a phone number of somebody that is legitimate and isn't going to rip you off. Somebody that is doing a good job, and you would never have met them if you hadn't come to CCI. So we're going to plug you into a group of supportive specialists, in addition to your mentor always being there to turn you on to whoever he knows or she knows in the industry.
Well, and that's key, because, you know, and I'm sure you've seen it, you know, throughout the years, but you need trustworthy referrals. There are a lot.
I can't tell you how many times I've sat in a class and somebody's told me, oh, I just gave $10,000 to this person, or I just gave $25,000 to this person. And they quickly realized right then and there, I just wasted my money, right? So I would just say, if only you had come here before you made these decisions, and we could get you with somebody that if you gave that money to, it would actually work, right? So that's the hard part about this industry. There's so many people that say that they're experts, and they make false claims, and they say things just to get you to give them money, and that's unfortunate, but it's all part of the industry, any industry. So that's really what the mentor is for, is to screen people and introduce you to people that aren't going to rip you off.
Well, that's key and very valuable. You know, so with again the workshops that you're hosting, we obviously we cater to the event industry as a whole. So we have a great community of event producers, event goers, and brands that sponsor these events. But more specifically, our event producer community. Do you have a few tips that you can share that you and your team have learned when it comes to actually hosting workshops throughout the U.S.?
Well, you definitely have to plan ahead. I've heard a lot of people saying that on your show. You have to be able to pivot quickly. And I think that's one of CCI's strengths is we can go to a market, we can advertise and see what the response is, And if we need to change the date or get another room or change locations, that's something that we can do very easily because we have that experience. So you kind of have to be willing to take risks, and you have to be willing to put yourself out there and try different marketing campaigns to see if they work, because otherwise there's no way to metricize your advertising. And that's one thing that's really frustrating for me is if I take out a print ad or if I take out an online ad, how do I know what the response is? And I found that it only takes one good message point to fill up a whole classroom. You just have to figure out what that, in that market, who that influencer is, or what mailing list you need to get on, or what newspaper you need to get an article written about you in. So we focus on getting press and doing marketing before we come to an area, and then try to use that as our metric for how well our campaign is. And if it doesn't do well, we just have to roll the class over into another day.
Yeah. Which again, makes sense. And that's part of the process too. And speaking of marketing campaigns, so so the CCI recently announced the launch of Bowling with Buds. Was that specific to one sector, like one workshop, or is that something you're testing out and maybe doing at other areas?
We've been doing it in the Los Angeles market since we started. So how that works is we set aside a time outside of class, sometimes after the class, maybe the next day or that evening, where we have a networking function at a bowling alley, and everybody creates their own teams and comes down and gets to know each other that way. Sometimes we'll have a lawyers group or an event group or any group that wants to have a team play against each other. So we might have dispensaries playing against each other or lawyers groups playing against each other. So it's just a way to enhance the industry beyond going to the class. It's something that is invaluable as far as getting to know people, because there's really, if you can stand around a cocktail party and drink, but you don't really get to know the people or have fun with them. So this is a good way to do that.
It does. It like lets down their guard. It shows their personality with who they are when they're doing something like that, like an activity.
Plus, we have a cool bong that's shaped like a bowling pin.
Oh, shut up.
To the winner. And that's pretty exciting when you see the people get that bong. It's pretty, they love it.
Yeah, that's the icing on the cake. So we had a couple more comments. Kim, in regards to the vetting and the mentorship program, she says that's really, really needed. And another individual mentioned on LinkedIn, maybe we can call it the pre-vet strategy. So
pre-vet strategy. Yes.
Yeah, pre-vet.
I mean, it's really important to have allies in this industry. And I know I've had people come to me 10, 20 years after we've had a consultation or we've worked together, and they're so grateful and they're so thankful for having the ability and the confidence that comes with knowing that you have somebody that you can call anytime that you want for this information. So plugging into that is definitely invaluable.
It's a peace of mind. As you said, this industry is crazy. Even we were talking offline, the past 5 years, how challenging it's been for everyone just to survive, literally survive. And so having, again, trusted people that you can go to is very key in this industry.
And that's one thing we didn't talk about is the people that are coming into this industry needing to understand how hard it is and how much work it is. And I think a lot of people look at the industry and they glamorize it and they think, oh, I'm going to be a weed mogul and we're going to sit around and smoke pot all day and that's all we have to do. And I'm telling you, if you're not ready for a long, hard work day, doing a lot of different things that you may not want to do or maybe you never did before, this might not be the industry for you. You got to be adaptable, you got to be flexible, and you got to take whatever the industry throws at you. And it's very unpredictable.
Yes, it really is. That's such a good point. And I'm glad you said that, because you're right. There's still a lot of those shiny lights of, there's money everywhere when there's no money here. There are some brands that are doing it. We can't, I don't want to put that down, but it's hard. They're they're lucky they're lucky they're
Well,
doing well.
as they say, there's no overnight successes, and you can see that the people who are successful are the people that are just, they're working really, really hard.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, before we go to the news article and that you and I chat about, any final words that you want to share with the audience?
I'm just so glad that COVID is over now and that we can actually get together and have these face-to-face, one-on-one meetings that are so crucial to our classes. We were unable to have classes for the past over 2 years because of COVID. And I thought, maybe that was the end. Maybe we can only do it online. And we do online classes, and we did do a very successful online class while COVID was happening. But again, CCI's business model is so personal and hands-on that there's really no replacing that online.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Well, for those that are interested in learning more, we have the website right above. It's cannabiscareerinstitute.com. And now next, Bob and I are just going to chat about a quick article that's in the news. So again, because this is a Cannabis Events Talk Show, we pick an article that has to do with cannabis tourism, events, or even lounges and hospitality. So this week's article is called Camp Cannabis Festival Appears to Have Been a Success. So for those that aren't familiar, recreational cannabis was legalized in Michigan with the 2018 election. And as that has progressed, they have now also issued a cannabis event license so that those that want to host consumption events can apply for this license and do so. And the most recent event was called Camp Cannabis Festival. It's hosted by the Fire Station Cannabis Company. And just some key points. This event was on the Upper Peninsula, sorry, and it's been notated as the largest cannabis consumption event. They also had numerous educational sessions and vendors. Some of the programs they had were Ingestibles 101, what is clean quality cannabis, and Cannabinoids Explained. Now, the city of Marquette, the police actually said it was a very peaceful event. They, this article says it did not resemble reefer madness, although cannabis smell was in the air, which is funny that they said that. But the program also, they were also very thorough in the creation of this event. They had a full-page emergency evacuation plan with various exits. They had quiet hours. Alcohol was permitted in beer tents, and cannabis consumption could take place all throughout the rest of the park. So they separated that to help alleviate maybe some potential issues that could happen with crossfade or people maybe consuming a little bit too much alcohol. And then the Camp Cannabis also featured musical performances. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts more on what with the overall with this kind of event. Do you think these kind of events are going to help normalize in cities like Michigan or states like Michigan? And how important it is that event organizers think of everything because they are leading by example. I'd just love to hear your thoughts around all that.
Well, when we first started seeing these cannabis events where people could smoke and give out dabs and do all that live, we also saw lots of people in the EMT area. And we saw people take a dab and just fall back right on their head. So knowing ahead of time that that's going to happen, it's great that they have this whole EMT area and a plan for when that happens, because that's going to be the way that you get criticized negatively in the industry. And what we want to prevent is all of those people saying, "Oh, I told you that was going to happen," and all these people are on drugs. And we have to promote this medicinally and therapeutically, not so much recreationally. And I feel like a lot of these events are just focusing primarily on recreational or adult use aspect of it, which is absolutely fine, but you need to be prepared for the backlash or the negative side of that. So making sure you have enough EMTs, making sure you have insurance, making sure there's lots of free water and food, because I go to a lot of these events and they don't have any food, right? And if people are smoking and drinking a lot, then they need to eat, and the food needs to be good, not hot dogs or stuff like that. So hopefully they had a lot of great food, and it sounds like they really knew what they were doing at this event. And if you want to have a wide spectrum of people coming to the event, you should have some educational or patient focused activities, not just smoking activities, because not everybody is going there just to get high or try out the latest product. So there's people that are going for truly medicinal reasons, and you want to make sure that those people get the right information. So hopefully it sounded like they had a bunch of classes there and educational portals that people could get into.
Yeah. Have you, and just a thought, I know it's a little off topic, but have you partnered with some events, like larger scale events, to produce their content at all? Does the Career Institute does the Cannabis Career Institute do that, or is that something
We
that
actually held the very first cannabis job fair in 2010 at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. So at that point in time, there was really not enough employers to have a job fair where you would have tables and everybody there would have jobs for people. And even some of the employers at that point were afraid to come to the events. But now it's changed. And yes, we hook ourselves onto any event that wants to have an educational component in it. So that's definitely something we bring. And we also do an event called Canna Meeting, which is kind of like a speed dating for a cannabis networking function, because one of the things I've noticed at a lot of these events is you go, you have a badge, but it's up to you to introduce yourself and meet the right person, which you sometimes don't even know who I should be talking to. So if you could go to an event like a Canna Meeting and have an icon and say, oh, I'm a cultivator looking for a job, or I'm an investor looking for a partner, we would be able to match you up and then have you meet there, just like a speed dating session, and quickly meet as many people relevant to you as possible.
See, I like that too, because on top of you having to go and approach people, some people also talk too much and you can't step away to go meet more people, So having like a speed dating keeps you going.
Maybe 5 minutes. That's all. You got your pitch. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. Well, that brings us to the end of this segment. Bob, I wanted to thank you for taking time today to jump on this show with us. For those that are interested, I'm putting up your LinkedIn and anywhere else that they can connect with you.
Well, come by the Jet Room in Adelanto anytime. I'm also Cannabis Career Institute is on Instagram and Facebook, and you can put my phone number on the contacts for anybody that wants to call me. I always answer my phone. I think that's one of the things that people always comment on is like, I can't believe you answered my call. And that's really 99% of the effectiveness of Cannabis Career Institute is accessibility. Okay, so if you can't reach the person that's going to help you, they're not any good to you. And if you say that you're somebody's consultant or their mentor and you don't have time for them, you're doing a disservice to the industry. So I'm always available. Even if you're not a student, feel free to call me, ask me some questions. That's, for me, that's what it's all about.
Well, I will make sure I'll put that information in. And I know we also wanted to get some, if you'll share with us the social equity information as well. So we'll put that in the chat on all the channels on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. For those that are watching, we'll get you that information. And then as Bob said, the cannabiscareerinstitute.com, that's another direction as well. So thank you again, Bob. I will, next time I'm out that way, I'm going to come back and check out the Jet Room. It's been quite a few years, so I'll have to make a stop myself.
And come by the Adelanto Stadium, which is one of the only stadiums that I know that allows cannabis consumption and sales.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you again, Bob, and we will stay in touch and see you soon.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. So we are almost done with the show. That was amazing. So much great insight and valuable information. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. Now, next week's guest is Dr. Imani Brown. She's the Director of Social Equity Program at the City of Los Angeles Department of Cannabis Regulation. And our event of the week is the Colorado Immersive Cannabis Mixer. This is hosted by the Cannabis Chamber of Commerce. And it says the Cannabis Chamber of Commerce is excited to announce its Colorado chapter launch event at Meow Wolf in Denver. Connect with some of the cannabis industry's most influential professionals from all sectors of the industry in a completely immersive and interactive environment. Now, if you're looking to make some new business connections to take your business or career to the next level, this is an event you don't want to miss. And to learn more, you can find it on Event High. Again, it's called the Colorado Immersive Cannabis Mixer. With that being said, thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next Thursday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay high.